Bust it.
Hello and thanks for joining us. Welcome to Political Platform. My name is Ait Political Platform is on REPA, Radio and Network, and Ait Abuja and Ait International. And our business is politics, economy, sometimes legal and social society issues also feature. The president enjoying his stay in the United Kingdom as part of his itinerary include visits and meetings with top officials. Yesterday he met his longtime friend, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby. They discussed extensively on issues of herdsmen attack. The president heaping the blame on terrorists trained and armed by late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi. He says the regular herdsmen we know in Nigeria, those that move around with their heads with sticks and sometimes machetes, but the one we have now are those that moved across Libya through the Sahel region, the Sahara Desert to Nigeria. If you know, it's only Niger Republic separating Nigeria from Libya. So the president is basing his argument from that point that once the regime in Libya is no longer in place, the trained terrorists dispersed and they found their way in Nigeria. Some of our listeners are not happy with the president. They said he's one man who's not tired of apportioning blame to every problem he encounters, and they're hoping that for once he will refuse to apportion blame and deal with the situation. You'll be hearing from some of our listeners in the course of our mails, which we'll be sharing with you. But one source of concern to us this morning is a revelation coming from the chairman of the National Population Commission, Ezeduri Homa, that Nigeria's population is 198 million. If you ask many Nigerians, they will put 170 million. That was the figure some years ago. But you know, our population growth rate is over 2.5%, about 2.7, 2.8%. That means every year we'll add nothing less than 5 up to 7 million to our population. And the man is concerned that the huge population is not being well taken care of. There are no plans on ground to handle these issues. And it is also our main concern today. We'll be speaking with the development economists on this huge population. By 2019, Nigeria's population will hit the 200 million mark, over 200 million. It's the same year that the highest concentration of poor people in the whole world will be in Nigeria. Recall what the founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, told us recently, told the government that we appear to be focusing unnecessarily on infrastructure, not the human element. And of course, it is one thing we must take a look at. Nigeria is the worst place to give birth on earth. If you want to be born and chances of survival, leave Nigeria. Even Sudan is a better place. You likely survive up to 5 years if you're born there than in Nigeria. With all these negative socio-economic indices, what are we doing as a nation to make provision for this huge population? Youth unemployment during that national discourse was put at over 50%. A time bomb like that discourse noted. No country will allow that. How do we provide for our teeming population? That's the center of our discourse. My colleagues are here. Adebayo Bodere has been away, but he's back with us on the program.
Amishi, sometimes when you hear that your population is increasing, you will jubilate because as of today, Nigeria is the 7th largest populated country in the whole world. And the National Population Commission, based on its different parameters it must have used, said we are now 198. And by next year, we'll be 200. Yes, for when you talk in terms of market, that kind of population is really, really very good. And that's one of the reasons during the Obasanjo regime I was saying Nigeria is the heart of Africa. That is, the market is in Africa. MTN, Airtel, or whatever came to Nigeria and they are making fortunes because of the population we have. Those who are sending or importing manufactured goods from outside the country are also making fortune from our population. But the critical issue is this population. Are there policies in place to address their needs and aspirations? There is none, and that is where the worry is. With this growing population and with dwindling employment opportunities and lack of overstretched infrastructure and even absence of none, our electricity generator capacity is still below 10,000. Where small countries like South Africa with a little population far below our own is already hitting
about 66 million. 66. They have over 20,000 megawatts.
And that if you stand at if you go to Johannesburg and you stand close to the statue of Nelson Mandela, you will see their projection for the next 50 years, and it's a timeline. In 2019, this is what we want to attain. 2020, this is what we want to attain. We don't really have. What we have are promises that are itself not fulfilled. I think we have a huge challenge over this sudden increase in population, which we don't have policies that will tackle the challenges it will pose to us.
We have the quantity, but what of the quality? Quantity goes with quality. Over 200 million. What about skills, education, opportunities, life expectancy, name it? There's no quality. Well, for some people, it's all about vote. Once they have the population, they guarantee vote. That's where it ends. Poverty-stricken people, bringing people to power. Joy J is also in the studio with us.
Amici, at 170, it was scary. Now I don't even know how to describe it. Because, like we have pointed out, look at the indices, look at the commensurate needs of the citizens. We don't have them, like Bayo Bodunri pointed out, we don't have a rolling plan. Where countries have 10-year, 20-year, 50-year rolling plan, we don't have any. Even the medium-term expenditure framework, the 3-year rolling plans that we have found it very difficult to implement because of the state of our budgeting process.
Division
all of them have just, yes, they have just been mouth-fed and nothing is happening. What pains my heart in the face of all of these is that in spite of the huge resources that the Lord has endowed this country with, you go from the north to the south, there is no state in this country that cannot be self-sufficient, whether intellectually or in terms of resources, mineral resources, oil, whatever you call it. God has so blessed this country, but the greed, the selfishness of our leaders, and also and the people, yes, I wanted to say the followership, and also the attitude of the followership is what has brought us to this point. I fear a situation where things will implode in this country, and that is why I want to appeal to our leaders, because with even greater challenges appearing, the greater the politics they play with the fate of the people. They should know where to draw the line with politics and begin to face these realities staring us in the face. And the followership should look beyond temporary gains that they get from these leaders who come to give them peanuts and take away their future and the future of their children, and refuse and stand on the ground of accountability, demanding performance from these leaders. That's the only way. I mean, you could say it's even a bit late, but that's the only way we can even begin to get out of the current situation.
Ijoma Samuel is also right here in the studio.
Thank you, Amechi. I think the strength of this country is in the population, because other parts of the world, they are not happy that Nigeria is this large. But the challenge we have, just like we just said, is that we are not able to manage this population. Imagine we have a population of about 198 million human beings. Just imagine that. Then what you see are the ones traveling, struggling to pass through the Mediterranean Sea out of the country because there's no job for the young ones.
Storing away in aircraft.
Exactly. And they are returning back, tied to what the president said about Mahmoud Gaddafi training, being the one who trained headsmen. I went to Benin. Yes, I went to Benin to get a first-hand information from these people that came from Libya. And they also confirmed it, that most of them are coming because they now have a mindset that is dangerous. If the government does not do anything about them, if the government does not provide for them, that it is a time bomb. The president is speaking now because he already found out that that is what is happening. What is the solution?
Yeah, that's what we should do.
What are the measures in place?
How do we plan for this huge population? How do we empower them? Give them skills, the necessary education, put them in such a place that they can exploit the many mineral resources that are found in this country. Nigeria, if you're counting most endowed countries, we are among the first 10. But most of the minerals are not exploited because of the nature of the structure of our political system. Mustafa Mohammed is also right here with us.
Amici and Akwe, you know, there's conscious planning for population, and then there's an unconscious increase in the population. In parts of Nigeria, of course, you hear parents talking about, no, one kid is okay, 2 kids or 3 are okay, school fees, feeding. They will be talking about so many. Then, of course, you also have parts of Nigeria where you can have people with 2 wives, 3 wives, 4 wives, of course. And of course, each woman would want to, you know, it's a pride of motherhood. Each woman would want to have 2, 3, 4, 5 of her own child. Of course, if they are right, you can only ask them to space, you can't deny them. But Nigeria, since the First Republic, there have not been planning for the increase of Nigeria's population, which our leaders from time to time knew is going to happen. It's not an accident that we are 190 million or more than that. The truth of the matter is, if you know there's going to be an expansion, you project what will happen in the next 10 years, 15 years. Just like from African countries like Algeria, Tunisia, just like France, they provide housing, just like the late Gaddafi.
And leave them unoccupied.
Yes.
Saving it for the next years.
Exactly. Educational infrastructure, health, job creation. I actually don't agree with those crossing the Mediterranean because there is no job. A lot of them we know carry drugs across. We know what happened. So many of them go with other young people for prostitution and human trafficking. We also have unscrupulous parents who sell off their property to send their daughters abroad for prostitution. And all of us will take a cover under one umbrella that there's no job in Nigeria.
That's why we say that.
Go to the main market. You find 18 young people, their age mates carrying cement bag of rice and they get paid. So why does the complaint about lack of job takes us to?
We just have to sit back and talk to ourselves, the leadership followers, everybody. There's a big problem standing before us. Bill Gates told us what we have been telling Nigerians here. Some people will say, no, you're focusing on negatives, when it's very clear that there are urgent and necessary steps we must take to avert some crisis. What is the responsibility here? Do you keep quiet, resting on hope like the ostrich, or bury his head in the sand, hoping that the problem will take care of itself? Or do you speak out to wake up those that are responsible for some actions and get it done and save our nation from the negative direction to the positive direction? But these are some of the issues. We want to bring in a development economist to trade on some of these issues. But before then, let's hear from you.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the mail segment. I'm Tenika.
And I'm paying on this morning.
We still have reactions coming in as to the president's declaration to run for 2019. And Patrick Oponya in Abuja says, Political Platform crew, please permit me to take Nigerians back a little down memory lane and dwell on Mr. President's declaration for second term. Shortly after winning the 2015 election, Mr. President publicly said, at the age of 73, there is a limit to what I can do. I wish I ruled Nigeria at my younger age. Now I ask, if with all the power at the disposal of a sitting president of Nigeria at 73 years, he can only do little, then what can he offer now that is over 75 years? I advise Nigerians to be wise this time and shun all forms of ethnicity and religious coloration with the simple face that President Buhari has absolutely nothing to offer Nigerians again. God help my country, Nigeria.
The blame game begins, according to Oshoma from Pape in Abuja. He says, it is not surprising that President Buhari is blaming a dead Gaddafi for the killings by herdsmen presently going on in Nigeria. It is expected. He is always apportioning blames and neglecting his core responsibilities of securing lives and property and improving the economy. I'm just wondering what the families of the victims of these senseless killings are going through now after voting Buhari and the APC in 2015, hoping to see a general in Aso Rock, as they were deceitfully told. The insincere attitude of President Buhari to the killings by herdsmen is the height of betrayal any political holder can show to his people. It is just unimaginable and a pity.
In more reactions to that, Blaze in Lagos State says Nigerian politicians, including the president, have not ceased to amuse us. Sometimes they think we are all dumb. How can our dear president say that the rampaging headsmen were trained by Muammar Gaddafi, who died many years ago? Assuming this is true, it is the same Gaddafi that has kept him as the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian armed forces from going after this murderous gang with ruthless anger? President Buhari should get more serious about governance without primordial sentiments and save Nigeria from the present slave to division and anarchy.
This is all we can accommodate in today's news segment. If you comment, the route hasn't changed. It's still Political Platform at yahoo.com. It's back to you, Mitch.
Thank you so much, Ifeanyi. Thank you so much for the mails. Keep them coming. Let's quickly bring in Sebastian Abinda, a development economist. Nigeria's population nearly, or you can estimate 200 million. Positive or negative, quantity is there quality. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
So how do we effectively utilize this huge population that we have? In fact, how do you react to the fact that we have so many quantity but not so much of quality?
Yeah, it's a very huge challenge in itself. Indeed, it is a very severe challenge, but it is also an opportunity. It's a massive opportunity for the country. At least we know where our demographic trajectory is moving to. We have been planning very badly. We have been ruled by politicians who only have the vision to grab power. They do not have a governance vision. That is what we are having with Buhari. That is what we had with the PDP. What has happened is that they grab power. They are not looking at the indices. They are not looking at the statistics. This is a very harrowing statistic. The fact that our population is growing at such an alarming rate, at over 3%, it challenges us to begin to wake up and design visions that we produce development at double. You know, generally when you have your demographics growing at a certain percentage, then the other indices, you must design a vision that we, double your population growth figure. That is the challenge we have now. Even as you begin to work on measures that we bring down the percentage of the population, in this case, bring it down to maybe 1 or less than 1%, or 1 to 1.5%. You also accelerate in the other areas, in the area of the infrastructure development, and in all other areas. For instance, in the north, the population growth figures are very poor. That constitutes a security challenge, as we are even seeing it today in the criminality and in insecurity, especially in the north. Now, in the southwest, the population figures, as they are concerned, the levels of development in education and other areas are better, and they reflect almost all other areas of infrastructure delivery. The challenge that we have for our politicians, especially those who want to run for executive positions, even and that's not to preclude the fact that the legislature has a challenge at the presidential level, at the gubernatorial level, is to be educated and to be forewarned on these figures so that they can accelerate their development in the area of infrastructure delivery.
Now, if you take a look at the figures, we have 198 million. That makes us the 7th most populous country in the world. It's not just the concern. We are growing, you mentioned, at just around 3% per year. The projection is by 2050 will be the 3rd most populous country in the world. You mentioned our population growth rate and our GDP not growing as much as the population is growing. Over 2%, up to 3% for the population growth rate, and less than 2% for the GDP. Our economy is contracting while our population is growing. What are the implications?
Let me give you the other implication that is even more harrowing for you. Look at your livestock growth figures. Your livestock growth figures for cows, for poultry, for pigs, for sheep, and for goats. It can say 1.8% per annum. And you're already having problems with the open grain Now imagine that at the good rate we have 20 million heads of cattle. At the population figure we have of 200 million thereabouts. You're supposed to, the optimum number of cattle you should have that you can industrialize in the area of livestock diversification ought to be around 60 million. 60 million heads of cattle. You have 20 million growing at 1.8. So you understand the deficit that you have now, and you have a crisis around grooming this cattle or using either ranching or open grazing. Now consider that in another, by 2050, you have a population of, say, 250 million, and you want to open graze. You now understand that your land figures are not expanding. So that is the type of crisis we are moving to in this area that is generating so much insecurity in the country. If you play that out in the other areas of infrastructure today, then you understand the magnitude of challenge we have. And this beckons on our politicians to get it right, to understand that it's not just about the vision to rule Nigeria, it's about the vision to cover Nigeria. They must have made their minds with the correct vision. How am I going to address this issue in the context of population? If you're happy, if you look at road transport, for instance, by the time we reach that 250 million projected figure, you will find that the roads, you will repair the roads continually, because even now we have that deficit. The deficit in infrastructure delivery is over 3 trillion naira. And then it tells you that you pay attention to road, rail transport infrastructure. Because rail transport infrastructure is where we should go, even as we don't ignore road. The same figures, the same parameters are available in the area of education, sanitary infrastructure, water infrastructure, and all that. This is a terrible picture. It's not the picture that should scare us off. It is a picture that gives us forewarning and tells our politicians to understand that it's not about becoming president of Nigeria as high as come and cannot resolve the problem. It's about getting your government vision correct.
Yeah, Sebastian, let's look at the situation in Nigeria today. Whenever we are talking about development initiatives, we still make reference to the First Republic and even the post-Civil War era, where we have development plans that are rigidly followed and rigidly implemented. Even in the post-Civil War development plan of General Gowon, for instance, like the construction of Third Mainland Bridge and all the rest, they were followed rigidly. These days, we have different successive governments come up with different development initiatives. Is that not a problem?
Well, it's a big problem in this as a factor of discontinuity. You have to be careful that the issue is to develop legislation around our region. In the US, you found that Trump, for whatever you feel about for everything that is contemplated is backed by legislation. So when we go to either amend the legislation or you follow through with it as a new president. In China, what the Chinese have done, as you can see, with the tenure elongation legislation that they have in place now, is that they want stability of tenure so that you can stay on, and then implement programs for the long term. For us in Nigeria, the way out of that is to legislate. This is a burden for both leaders, executive leaders and legislative leaders, the fact that when you are contemplating a vision for Nigeria, you should do it in the context of law, so that by the time you leave, the law sustains and therefore whoever comes to power implements the body of the law. He has the challenge of implementing the law. If he doesn't want it, he amends. Like Obama, Trump tried to amend Obama here. He tried to throw it out, the bill is put to so he did amendment. The law still stays on. Trump's vision still stays on. So in development, and it's better to look at the prospects and the opportunities for legislation instead of bringing up policies that don't have a new government, a new president, governor can throw out and then generate the continuities in policy and waste of funding and time that you use your question.
We must have to thank you so much, Sebastian Agwinda, for your interventions.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and he's a development economist. We will have to continue to raise these issues and place them on the top burner. The concern of our politicians now is 2019 election. Like you rightly mentioned, struggle for power. If you're given the power, what do you do with it? How do you save this nation from unemployment, from lack of infrastructure? 15 to 13, or about 13 million people of school age, not in school but on the streets. These are some of the questions we should pose to those seeking political offices ahead of 2019 elections.
Amechi, I think people tend to want to throw away what the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, said in his press statement. If you look at what he mentioned there, he was speaking specifically about what is happening in Nigeria today. He also went further to say, even from my own tenure, Nigeria is not what we expect it to be. And because we didn't do the right thing, it is time for us to correct those anomalies. I think those who are people with their PVC should start asking candidates, what do you have for us? Not bringing bag of rice and salt and giving you
singing and dancing.
And singing and dancing. At the end of the day, you vote.
I'm bringing a top musician.
He had the opportunity of making this country very great. But toward the end of his tenure, what did we see? He wanted to come back for a third term. Like all other dictators in Africa, like Robert Mugabe, Muammar Gaddafi, Paul Biya, the trend of African politics. And you cannot divorce all these leaders we are having from all those who have made Nigeria what it is, an unfortunate country since its independence. Nigeria was much better during the First Republic. It's just unfortunate.
I think that it would not really be fair to grade former President Obasanjo with the Gaddafis of this world. Because yes, he sought a third term, which was constitutionally wrong. But at the same time, we can give it to him that he made concrete advances into governance in this country. He achieved some things that are tangible enough that we can see today and that Nigerians are enjoying. And he had one of the best economic team, the best that Nigeria has had in a long time.
I think the challenge for Nigerians today is that if you have bad leaders, you also have bad followers.
Yes.
So it is time for the followers to use their right, their legitimate right to elect good leaders. And they must not be those. I had some youths the other day. I was discussing with them. The next question they asked that, what is in for us for this election? Are we going to gain? And I have to educate them that what you can gain is installing good and purposeful leaders.
Building your future. All right.
Not just getting your PVC. Get it first, then ask the candidates, what do you want to do to unemployment?
Yes.
What do you want to do to poverty? What do you want to do to inequality? Let them provide the answers.
Amechi, I think that even while we're talking about 2019 and what to do, we should also still hold the current administration responsible, accountable for a lot of things. They should provide governance. We can't just waste this period.
We can take today's edition. Thanks for being part of it. We'll return on Friday for the very last edition of the week. My name is Ait.
Busted.